So hi and welcome to Big Brander free online sessions. And today I want to speak about what are the best way to reach our target audience. Because knowing our target audience and really understanding this part, we're really going to help us to grow our business. By knowing our target audience, it will help us to know where to find them, how to engage with them, when to engage with them. So this is a big part of our business foundation. And once we have that in a very accurate way, and we keep on working on making it more accurate and more accurate, it's really going to help us eventually to be able to convert our followers, our subscribers, our audience into actual clients. So I'm going to share today some tips about what are the best ways to reach out to them, how we can find them, where we can find them, what exactly we can do around this. So the first part is to make sure that we really work on defining our target audience. And this is something we need to do. My recommendation is to do it every few months because it's always changing. We changing, the business is changing sometimes, the audience behavior is changing. So if we look, for example, pre-COVID, the behavior was around meeting in person, and then COVID happened and everything moved to the online. And then after COVID, it moved now to a type of a balance between them. So our audiences keep on changing, we're changing. That's why it's very important to keep on learning about our audience and making sure we're still making a definition that is every time getting more accurate to who they are. But how do we actually define them? So first we want to ask ourselves, who's our ideal client? And really write it down and really try to even close your eyes and just try to imagine your dream client. Who's that person? Is that a female? Is that a male? What's their age group? What's their financial status? What are the hobbies? And really put as much information as we can about them. And it's very important to make sure that we collecting information that's really going to help us to understand what are they interesting about, what are their needs, what are their behavior. So for example, if I'm looking at people that will want to invest in their business, I can say that I'm also looking for people that eating healthy. If they eat healthy, it means they take care of themselves. If they take care of themselves, they're going to take care of the business. I can take people that maybe travel or live a good lifestyle, because if they do, it means they've got the money. So that's why it's very important to really try to learn as much as we can about our audience. And also to really have like a type of a research around them. And that's why it's always taking time. And that's why we always need to do fine tuning to our audience. So we want to do some research and learn more about them, even if by asking questions and learning more about their behavior, about their interests, see what else they're liking, and so on. And as well to help us really focus on making sure that we making the right definition is to really focus on what is the problem that we're solving to that audience. Because when we do our business, we're solving a problem. Not every audience experience the same problem. And when I say problem, it can also be a challenge. It can also be a struggle. It can also be a type of a pain point that they feel inside, and they want to overcome it. They want to actually succeed and move on from that. So by us knowing who's the audience that we've got a solution to their problem, it's really going to help us along the way with creating content that is relevant to them. It's also going to help us to build relationship. And our goal is eventually to find audience that resonate with us the same as we resonate with them. So that's why we want to find audience that the same as we came with this product and we overcome the issue and now we've got a solution. We want to find people that are like us, that they will understand. Okay, they will understand what we're talking about because we can connect through that. And this is the type of information that also going to really help you with paid marketing, because in paid marketing, when you define your audience, you really want to have as much information as you can to make sure you're narrowing down and being more accurate, because it's not just about reaching people and then it's nice and maybe some will like and maybe some will follow. We want actually to reach out to people that we are eventually going to be able to convert them into actual clients. Once we know who's our audience, it's time for us to actually find the right channels, okay? With which channels we want to work with, which one is right for us. So for that, we want to make sure that we're finding those channels that our audience spends their time in. the places where we can actually communicate with the audience, that we can engage with them, that they're spending their time in for gathering information, for checking for everything, and just like being there. So for example, we want to check on which social media platform are they spending the time, on which groups, for example, if we look on LinkedIn or Facebook, on which groups are they more active? Do they like blogs? Do they like videos? Do they like short videos or like YouTube videos? What other type of marketing tools they like to use? Do they like to read newsletters? Are they looking to go to different type of events or networking events or exhibition and so on? So we really want to learn more through that, and as well to see where are they active the most. Okay, so some people can be on different platforms, but they're not really active there. They're just there, and once in a while they enter those platforms. So you want to make sure that we're finding those platforms that they're active, that they're liking stuff, that they're commenting on stuff, okay, that they're subscribing, if it's, for example, on YouTube, that they're joining groups and, posting there. So you want to find those places that are actually more active in. And knowing those right places is really going to help us, together with knowing our audience and knowing where they're spending the time, to know exactly what type of content we can create, content that will help us to improve engagement. Because by knowing the audience, we will know how to speak to them. And on the other hand, if we're knowing the platforms and what they like, so we know to create more reading content, more videos, and this will help us as well to focus on that part. So now that we find out like what are the different channels that they are active on, and we know where we want to be, and we know who we want to reach out, now it's time to actually start creating engaging content. That's one of the best ways for us to actually reach out to our audience, by knowing who they are, knowing where they spend their time, and now we know how to communicate with them so we can reach out to them, connect with them, and through that help the algorithm of the different social media platforms, for example, to know who are our ideal clients, who are our ideal followers, so he can expose our content to more potential followers, potential subscribers. So in order for us to be able to create engaging content, it's really important that we are focusing with our content on the problem that we are solving. So I always compare it as you go to a restaurant. You don't come and you get the starter, the main, the dessert, and everything at once, right? You start with the bread basket. You maybe start with a starter. And that's the same. We want to make sure that we're really focusing on the problem that our audience experience. We don't want to give them the full solution. We just want to give them a bit of a taste, okay, of what we're talking about, and speak about more on the side of what they're feeling. And that's why it's also very important to create content that create an emotional connection between them to us. If in the past people used to first think and then act, today people first feel before they act. So we want to create an emotional connection. So by us knowing the problem that they experience, we can come with different messages and questions and topics that really focus on that, but speak on the side on how they feel. If they feel, for example, lost, overwhelmed, sad, scared, excited, nervous, whatever type of emotion. And through that, we can actually help them to engage more. Because if I'm making the other side first understand that I see you, I understand exactly what you're going through, I've been there, I've done that, and I can help you. And on top of it, you make them feel something, even if they don't feel comfortable. If it's something that makes them think like, oh my God, I do have this. I also have an anxiety. I also experience that type of emotion. That will encourage them to engage with you more. And we really want to focus on creating content that we call it quality content, but quality content is content that our audience finds as relevant to them, that he finds as valuable, as insightful, as helpful, something that they can actually read and or watch and say, okay, this person knows exactly what they're talking about. That person understands me, and this is the person I can start building relationship and trust them. So you also want to create content that it's very appealing from the visual side. Okay, certain platform it works more, certain ones is less. Okay, so for example, if we look at a platform like Instagram, in Instagram the visual is very, very important. So we want to create content that really helps us to get their attention, that will encourage them to engage with us. And I'll put the mute. So for those of you who just joined, I'll just quickly say what I've said up until now. We want to make sure we know who's our audience, okay? And really have a clear definition of them. Once we have a clear definition of them, we know we're finding the right channels to work with, which social media platform, newsletter, events, any type of other marketing tools. And then we want to create content and really engage with them. So it's very important to make sure that we also finding, if we know what channels work for us, if we know, for example, that our audience like blogs, for example. So a website is a place for us to engage with them. LinkedIn with the articles is a place to engage with them. If they like videos, so are they, for example, maybe moms and they don't have the time now to watch like a long video of like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So the short videos will be a great tool for us to use and create through that engaging content, because we can use the TikTok and the Reels on Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest, you have that option. So it's very important to make sure that we know what's working for them and what's not, and use that, and to try to also use a mix of things. So don't just create videos and don't just use like articles, and find a type of a mix, but again, a mix that actually in line with what your audience is looking for, with what's going to help your audience to engage with you more. And as I said, we want to focus on the problem. Okay. And one of the things that I really like to do is to always start your content with a type of a question. When you ask a question, people automatically need to answer that question. Even if they didn't comment on your post or on your video, they will answer in their head. Now, if you keep on creating that content and focus on the problem and bring it on and all the time there and being consistent, at one point, they will either have the courage to maybe comment or send you as a private message. So we also want to make sure that we're really making them understand that we see them and we totally understand what they're going through, and help them understand that there is a solution to the problem and it is doable. Okay, they can succeed. It's also very good to help you with the engagement, to make it more personalized, okay, to customize your message, to really speak on what they're going through and what they're dealing with. Okay, we want to actually use it to make sure that the engagement is better, because it's really going to help you to establish a stronger connection. Because there's a difference if I speak in general or if I speak and I make it look like I'm talking to you. It's the same as like we watch TV, for example, and we feel that connection to one of the characters. And it sometimes feels like they actually look at us, or even when we go to like a lecture, when they look at you, when they create that personal connection, it really helps us to build those relationships. And when looking on building a brand and when looking on converting our followers into actual clients, it is important to build relationships, because people buy from people, and people buy from people they have a connection with, that they can build a relationship with. If they build relationship, you're going to gain their trust. And once there is trust, they're going to be your best brand ambassadors and loyal to your brand. And that's how we're growing, and that's how we're getting more referrals. Okay, so this is the type of a cycle we're looking for. So really try to also create content that really makes them feel special, that you see them, that you understand them. As well, engage with your audience on the different social media platforms. Okay, make sure you're active in the right places. And also separate, for example, between being active on platform that your audience there just for fun, or are they there because they're searching for the solution that you've got to offer. Make sure that you're actually responding to their comments, to the messages, give them feedback. Because I see with with some of the profiles that they don't comment back, and or maybe they just give a heart to the comment back. It's also going to help you with the algorithm, but also will help you to start a discussion with them or get another reaction with them, and also really to build that relationship. And the reason why I said like I recommend to start with questions, because questions usually start a conversation, and starting a conversation is really going to help you to build a community around your brand, because everyone wants to be part of a community. And I think like COVID really emphasized it, that we all want to be part of something, a place that we feel comfortable to ask questions, a place we feel belong to, that maybe no one judges, that's okay to be in a certain way or to do certain things. And by starting a conversation and responding to them, And just being there and not judging and not everything, you're really building a community around your brand, which also, as I said, is going to help with building the relationship and building trust. It's also important not just to use social media, but to make sure we really optimize other marketing tools. And there's lots of different other marketing tools that we sometimes tend to forget because we're so used to the social media. One of them, for example, is the email marketing. So it's very important to make sure that we actually utilizing it, that we're using, for example, to segmentize our audience. And then we send maybe different type of email, that we're sending them emails with relevant content, with relevant offers. And we're really using it to connect with them. And that's the nice thing about like email lists, that you, for example, can create like a list for example, for new people who join, for people who bought from you already. And you can do it on different topics, and you can use it for announcements. So there's a lot of things you can do there in order for you to engage with your audience. And also by building that email list, if, for example, you give a freebie, you actually grow your email list, and then you're bringing more relevant audience. So this is another great way for you to reach out to more people. And you can bring them by even, as I said, giving a freebie, inviting them from the different social media platform, if you're going to a networking event, and so on. Another marketing tool, which is super important, is the SEO, which is the search engine optimization, which is not, by the way, just the ranking of our website, it's the ranking of our business. So for example, even if you Google, you can see posts that you maybe have from YouTube and from Twitter and from other platforms. It's going to appear in the videos, in the images. So we really want to make sure that we making the most out of it, that we're using the right keywords. And those keywords that we use for SEO, we use them not just on our website, we use it also in our content on the different social media platform. We use it in the content in the newsletter and so on. So it's very nice to actually do research. And by us knowing who's our audience and what they're going through and what's important for them and what's their struggle or challenge, we know how to make a research through that and find the right and relevant keywords, okay, that we know that they're searching for. And another marketing tool is the influencers, the collaboration. Now, collaboration can be not just with influencers, it can be also with someone else that either work in the same industry with you. That, for example, you can go live and do certain things and create content together. It can be someone that do something similar, but not the exact thing, and you kind of complete each other. Or you can find someone that, for example, has got a nice amount of like followers, but it's not just the followers. It's very important to check the engagement, like how many people save, share, comments on their content, and then to find a way to collaborate with them. But we want to make sure that when we collaborate, it's not just to collaborate because it's nice and going to help us to maybe reach out to more people, but it's to make sure we collaborate with the right brands that their audience is similar to our audience. Because it's not just to grow the followers, it's to make sure we bring the right followers. If we don't bring the right followers, then we don't see any improvement in the engagement because it's not really relevant to them, which also going to impact with the algorithm. And also it's going to influence the fact that we're not going to be able to convert them from followers, subscribers to actual clients. And eventually we are a business and we want to bring them to come and work with us, to buy our products, to buy our service. So it's important to make sure that we actually using and working with people that their audience is similar to ours. Another tool that we can do is the paid advertising. So this is something that I usually say that if you just started your business, I would not recommend to start with paid ads. Because in the beginning and in order for you to succeed with paid marketing, it's very important to make sure that we really know who's our audience, because there's a difference when we define our audience on the ad that is very, let's say, wide, to us knowing our audience and knowing what's important for them and being very accurate. So one of the example I gave in the beginning, so when I, for example, do for my business paid ads, I'll choose audience that because I want them to, I'm looking for people that also will invest in the business. So I am checking for people that lifestyle is something that they're interested about, healthy lifestyle, they maybe do yoga, they maybe go to gym, they maybe like to travel. And that's why it's very important to really, when we define our audience, to write as much information as we can about them. It's really going to help us with the paid marketing. But if we just in the beginning of the business, then we're not really sure who's the audience and we cannot be really accurate. And then we might get like, let's say 20 leads, but we're not going to be able to convert most of them. So it's not just about getting leads, it's making sure we're getting the right leads that we can actually convert them either to follow us or to buy our product or service or to save more of our posts and any other type of content we share. So, but paid advertising, once we are clear more about certain things, it's a great tool for us to use to really reach out to more people. That we say that in the organic marketing, we reach out to a certain amount. Now we want to have a nice jump from there. So paid marketing is good for that. But as I said, it's really important to make sure we really know as much as you can about our audience. It's going to really help us to be more accurate with the definition. And then through that, we'll get better results. And when we look at the results as well, it is important not to see how many likes you got out of it. How many people visit your profile and how many of them have followed. So you can actually learn from there. For example, if a lot of people visit my profile, but they were not following, so maybe they're not the right audience because my content doesn't really speak to them. You want to check as well how many saves, how many share you got. And those are the important things, because if people share your content, it means that more people that might be your potential followers and potential clients will be exposed to this. If they save it, it means that there is a better chance for them coming back and watching it, and you're also going to be in top of mind. So you can use platform as like Google Ads, Facebook Ads. You also have on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Basically, all platforms got today a type of a paid ads. And you, as I said, you want to use it to really reach out to more people. But also, I see it as a great tool for you as well to research and learn more about your audience. Because as I said, for example, you, for example, thought that your audience, I don't know, like beauty, for example, and now you saw like a lot of people are getting exposed to your account, but they're not following. So maybe they're not, your audience doesn't really have that interest in beauty, and that's what you want to change. So really use it to learn more and more. And that's what I said in the beginning, to define our audience is something that we constantly need to do every few months. So for example, every 6 months you want to take a look and see what have changed, what can I add, what can I not, what was working and what's not. And most importantly, that we really need to remember in order for us to be able to reach out to our target audience and to make sure we're reaching out to the right people, is to really make sure we're being consistent. And consistency, it's not just about being there, it's also about being consistent with the type of content we create, okay? And to be consistent with our brand identity, with the tone of voice, with the visuals. We want to be memorable. We want to be in top of mind. So if today I use this color and next day this, one day I use this element, on a different day I'll use a different element. On one platform I'll use one type of design, on the other one a different one. People won't remember. There's a reason why people connect the M of McDonald's and the colors of the yellow and the red and the V of Nike, because they're using those different elements and colors, and they're repeating them on the different adverts and the different things they do. And that's the same as also to be consistent with the type of content. If we speak about healthcare, so we stick into this, we cannot do healthcare and then beauty on the same time. We need to focus on the one thing. By us being consistent, first, it shows credibility. Second, it helps the algorithm to understand, because it takes time for you to learn about your audience. It also takes time for your audience to learn about you, but it takes time to the algorithm to learn. And if you're being consistent with the type of content, with everything you do, by also appearing and not disappearing for weeks or for months, and you're still there, even if you post just once or twice a week and not like 3-4 times a week, that's fine. If you're still being there, you're helping the algorithm to learn who's the right audience for you, because that's their purpose, right? They want to get more money. So they need you to get your audience to be more active, to spend more time on that different platform. And for that, they really want to help you to attract the right audience. So being consistent as well, as I said, with the credibility, it also helps to build recognition and trust. And building trust, they're going to be loyal to your brand. And this is how you build a brand that's going to be here for the long run. And that's what we're looking for. That's how we're going to be able to convert more followers, more of an audience to an actual client. And it's really important just to really be there and engage with them, because this is the part of building a community. If you build a community for them, you provided them a safe place, a place that they know that they can trust you, that whenever they've got a question and they finally maybe got the courage, you're there, you answer. Because if they share with you something and no one answer, you disappear, or one day you answer, one day or not, they won't trust you. And why should I pay for your product and for your service if you actually like not really there and not communicating with me? But if you communicate with me, you're in top of mind, then I know that can trust you, that I can come to you. And that's what we're trying to get. Okay, this is what it's all based about. So it's very important to make sure we're being consistent. And the most important thing is remembering that marketing is an ongoing thing. Brand building is an ongoing project. It's something that it doesn't take a day, a month, a year, or 5 years to build. It's something we constantly need to work on, okay? And that is why it's very important to make sure that we are focusing on learning our audience, and the analytics are also gonna really help us with like learning that. That is one of the super important thing in marketing, is that you wanna look at the data. You wanna see, for example, if it's, I don't know, a newsletter, so what's your open rate? How many people unsubscribed? How many people clicked on what they clicked? If it's YouTube, how many views you had? How many people subscribed because of that video? How many people, where they came from? Did they came from Google search, YouTube search, from an external link? And that's what we want to learn, because our audience will tell us everything. They'll tell us who they are, what they like, what they don't like in general, and also what they like and don't like from your content, what is working and what's not. And once we learn that, then we can take the content that works and replicate it, and through that to also show our audience, I see you, I hear what you're saying, I listen to your feedback, and I'm following it. And the nice thing is that also we need to remember that to build a brand takes time, but it can take a second to destroy it. That's why it's very important to make sure we keep on engaging with the right people, that we don't get to a place that there's frustration. For example, if that's what we're trying to say, and the audience is like thinking that that's what we're saying, or come with a certain expectation, we want to close that gap. We don't want to have a big gap, because that can get them to not want to work with us or say something bad, and people run into saying something bad, a bad feedback. So we want to make sure that we're focusing on building relationship with our audience, gaining their trust, and listening to them, communicating with them, helping them to see that we see them, that they can resonate with us the same as we resonate with them. And that will really help you to improve the engagement and to make sure you're reaching out to the right audience.